Thanks for the introduction, and thanks OPIC and CCC organizing this amazing conference. Note that this is a CCC breakout session, and I will present a use case to inspire you for discussion later. We will have a poster in the reception, so if you have any questions, you can come to the booth, come to the poster. We can discuss more. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Mingshen Sun. I'm a research scientist at TikTok. I mainly drive the application and innovation of trusted computing or confidential computing technologies at TikTok. Today, I'm going to present our recent innovative solution with trust execution environment to achieve auditable and verifiable transparency. In this talk, I will briefly introduce the importance of transparency and software transparency specifically, and the motivation of achieving greater transparency, auditable and verifiable. Then I will introducing 3 building blocks of this solution. And lastly, I will discuss potential applications in recently AI, ML industry, and how this solution can help us. All right, let's get started. Okay, transparency is a key component to build trust with the public, individuals, users, and the regulators. So in practice, for software transparency, open sourcing and third-party auditing are 2 main ways providing software transparency. TikTok actually has several transparency initiatives. You can check them out in TikTok Transparency Center and TikTok for Developers. We, along with other companies, also join the open source community, providing better transparency to the public individuals. And you can also check out our TikTok and TikTok Privacy Innovation organization on the GitHub. You'll find a lot of interesting repository and project on that. However, we can do better. So one challenge we face when open sourcing the project is how to provide a verifiable proof that the code or the algorithm is in production. So that is a question. Before I introducing the technical details of this solution, let me start with our ultimate goal here. So in our solution, what we want to achieve is the next level of transparency. That is, I will read it aloud. A service provider can present a third-party endorsed proof that the code for audit is currently deployed and used in production. And this claim can be verified by public individuals independently without trusting the service provider. So this is the ultimate goal. Keep this in mind. I will introduce the solution and to achieve this goal. So there are 2 challenges. Firstly, I mentioned auditability, how to provide a trusted platform for third-party auditing. Secondly is verifiability, how to provide a verifiable proof this software is in production, that the public individual can verify by themselves without trusting anyone. I mean, without trusting the service provider. Okay. Let's dive into this solution. In our solution with trust execution environment, we want to provide, like I mentioned, software transparency with both auditability and verifiability. So in details, there are 3 building blocks. First, trusted auditing. Secondly, remotely attestable services. And thirdly, independent verification. So let's discuss the one by one. For trusted auditing, what we can provide is a trusted environment for the auditor to come in and review the source code and the building pipeline as well. What PE assures is the integrity of the building process is trusted. And the auditor then can endorse the static reference measurement generated by the trusted building pipeline, and then release these reference measurements to the public after reviewing the source code and the building pipeline and the corresponding artifacts. So that is the trusted auditing parts. So for the auditors, some assertions you can imagine. First, integrity of the building pipeline. There's no suspicious codes are injected during the building process. Also, the integrity of potential, if you want to open source the code, the integrity of the open sourcing process. The open source and the internal code are consistent. And thirdly, potentially you can audit some other properties, like there's no bias of the model, the algorithm, and the rules are consistent along different versions, something like that. Then what auditor will endorse, as I said, is a static reference measurement. So in confidential computing, it is a signed measurement and with compiled artifacts. And if you want to open source the code, the auditor will also sign the code for audit to the public individual. They can download and see and compare the code and the measurement as well. And thirdly, if we do extra steps to evaluate more property of the source code or models, there are like a signed assessment report can also be published in the public. And okay, note that the code auditing process must be done for each versions. So the whole process of trusted auditing need to be automated. And for every versions, if there's update, the auditor can run the auditing scripts or assertions automatically. The second part is remote attestable platform. This part is very straightforward. So we can migrate existing services to the TE-enabled platform. And the TE hardware will provide the hardware endorsed runtime measurements. And the attestation report will prove that the algorithm for audit is consistent with the system deployed in production. So that's the second part, remotely attestable platform. Yeah, with remote attestation, TE can generate hardware-signed runtime measurements. So let's come to the last one, independent verification. So for public individuals, they can simply compare the endorsed reference measurements from the trusted auditor and the runtime measurement endorsed by the hardware platform. If the both measurements are consistent, that means the code for audit is exactly same as the code deployed in the backend in production. So with this process, we can establish this auditable and verifiable transparency of software in production for any parties. From our perspective, this kind of software transparency is very important to build trust with everyone. Therefore, we'll continue driving these scenarios and glad to collaborate with the confidential computing community. Okay, let me make the things simple. Let's talk about the chain of trust and how we can build this trust. What public individual need to trust is two entities. One is the auditor who generates the trusted reference measurement from the trusted auditing process, and the other party is the TE vendors who endorse the trusted runtime measurements. So with these two parties, you trust the measurement generated by auditors and the vendors. So public individual can simply compare those measurements and verify the property I mentioned without trusting the service provider. Okay, we have discussed the scenario of the transparency of algorithm or software, but we can also apply this solution providing transparency of ML, machine learning pipelines, and of course, machine learning models. So machine learning models, for example, neural networks, is a kind of algorithm compiled from data. So similarly, transparency of machine learning models or machine learning pipelines are also very important. So if you look at the principles of trustworthy and responsible AI published by different organizations, transparency is one of the keywords in the principles. So to achieve this auditability and verifiability in the transparency model, we do see these two questions. So for example, where is the model come from? So this is like a prominence questions. And the second question is how about the integrity of the training pipeline? So can we get a better assurance of the training pipeline? So of course, I have introduced the solution, the auditable and verifiable transparency solution. This hardware endorsed proof for ML models can bring us more transparency, better transparency. So it will definitely contribute the trustworthy and responsible AI in the long run. Lastly, I want to call to achieve that auditable and verifiable transparency, we really need call for the collaborative efforts. So one thing I want to call bring TE into more products really needs collaborative efforts. So for example, establishing TE infrastructure, software stack, to support large-scale deployment. If you want to really prove to the public individual like the large-scale system is running in the backend. And also, I think a lot of people mentioned that we need to increase awareness and the visibility of the technology and explore different value proposition of this technology in different use cases. And last, bridge the gap between the regulatory compliance and the technical guarantees. And I'm glad also recently we have announced that TikTok joined Linux Foundation Confidential Computing Consortium. And we really want to collaborate with the community to drive this effort forwards. And for us, we will get more involved in the community and discuss with you guys in the community to explore more use cases. Okay, at last, I want to highlight our two more tech talks in the CC Summit. Two of them are in tomorrow. One is the secure and private platform for transparent research access via trust execution environments. This is one of the use case we explored at TikTok. And the other talk is a trustless attestation service for TE with zero knowledge proofs. So for this one, we want to explore the possibility to completely remove attestation service in the trust boundary. So if you're interested in these two talks, feel free to come in, join us tomorrow. Thanks. I'll take any questions. Yeah, go.
Thanks for the presentation. A lot of this depends on the automated script of the trusted auditing. So what happens when the audit
You are talking about if we have a version that has been audited by the auditor and deployed in production, what happened next if there are some new vulnerabilities seen in the old version? Okay, so since for the the reference measurements is an endorsement for certain versions, and we can leverage the, we're thinking about like 6-star to manage this transparency log. So when we do see vulnerabilities in older version, we can definitely put that as like a revocation list on the transparency log. So people who are using the older version knows that this is vulnerable. You need to like somehow upgrade or you need to figure out the why. So all the things, because it's managed by 6-star, for example, it's all in the transparency log, and it's not, it's like a ledger. You cannot modify that. Yeah, go ahead.
So, like, how can we trust the auditors? When verifying software, how can we trust that the auditor says it's verified? How can we trust these auditors?
That's really a good question. So in our trusted model, auditor and the TE vendors are two parties we have to trust, because this is how we establish trust forward. So I think from auditors' perspective, it's better to publish their auditing script so that public individual, if you are interested in that, you can see that auditor script and assertions as well. So I think that's a very good question, and yeah. Any other questions? All right, if no, I will be around in the reception. If you have any question, you can meet me in person. Thank you.